What's going on, guys? This is Chandler Smith, and today we are going to be up interviewing Zahe in the Jackson area. Now, Zahe actually owns over $14 million of real estate, and I was able to meet him when I was trying to purchase 2 fourplexes that he was selling a couple months back. Now, we never got to a price that both of us were happy with on those fourplexes, but I did make a new friend that I've been able to learn a ton from. So I'm really excited to see what you guys think of this interview. So Zahe, I know one of the big things that I love for people that I sit down with to share is just kind of their rap sheet of everything they're working on right now, everything they've done. So just in a minute or two, why don't you tell us everything you got going on right now?
Absolutely. So my focus right now, Chandler, is I'm doing the settlement. So we're going to be building about 30 houses in the settlement just outside of Victor. And we've just finished 2 log cabins on 5500 South here in Victor. We are doing Fox Creek, which we're going to have some storage units in Fox Creek. That project's going to be heading on pretty soon. The motel expansion is happening. Archer Trailer Park is in construction. Ryrie Trailer Park is in construction. And then we have 3 8-plexes in construction, Idaho Falls. Okay. And then we are getting ready to start on Holly Park as well. So we're literally in the middle of about maybe 8 to 9 projects, major projects right now that we're focusing on.
Very cool. When you say in construction, are some of these new? Are some of them projects that you've stripped down and started fresh with?
Correct. So some of these are new projects and others are renovation projects. So, and my favorite one is the one in 17th. We'll talk about that a little bit more because we're able to take that from offices and do an apartment conversion on it.
Very
It's
cool.
pretty cool how that went down. So, but yeah, so a little bit of both.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So once that bank account starts to get full, that's right when you throw money into another project that puts you up against the wall, huh?
That's just it. And I've done that. You know, I've done that. And financial, for me to tell you guys that there's millions in the bank, there's not. But I have some phenomenal properties that I don't think will ever fail. It's that simple. And I would rather have real estate than cash in the bank.
So the next question I had for you, Zahe, is I think there are lots of people that they hear all that you've done and they say there's no way in heck I could ever get to that point. I mean, if you're back in some of these guys' shoes where they've got maybe 20, 30 grand in the bank,
Sure.
What advice would you give them as far as what they should do with that money and where they should put their time?
I think real estate is where what should be their focus. Even if you bought a flip home, a home that you can fix up and renovate and sell and make an extra $30,000, $40,000, it's a start, right? And so I would give them advice of you've got to be cautious and you've got to do a little homework. But at the end of the day, it takes a little risk, Chandler. It's that simple. You've got to step outside your box to be able to take the risk to reap the reward. It's that simple. So take the risk. That's what I would tell people.
I love it.
Take the risk.
Now with you at this point, I know early on it feels like huge risk, but when you're going into projects now with all the information you have, with all you've done, with all you know, do you feel like there's a lot of risk there still, or do you feel like you've got it figured out?
I think I've got it figured out. I really feel like I do, but I don't think I would ever stop taking risks. I'm the type of person, Chandler, that my back has to be against the wall to perform. I don't know if I can put that for you in any different pretext. No, I've got to be under pressure all the time. I have severe ADD. I'm not afraid to admit it. So I do have an advantage where I can multitask. I can do a bunch of things at the same time. But back to the risk, I have to be under pressure to perform. It would be a boring day for me if I took a project that was just super simple and I had to wait through 90 days to close and it's going back and forth. I couldn't handle it. There's no way. It's got to be today. It's got to be an instant decision, and I've got to be under pressure to get the deal done, or it's not happening.
I love it.
That's me.
Oh, Zahe, I know with all of the experience you've done, I'm sure you've got tons of little nuggets of gold for people. What else would you tell people as far as things to do different? I mean, I'm sure you've seen people make mistakes in real estate. What are the things that maybe you wish you could have done different and things you'd tell someone else to do different?
That's a really good question, Chandler. It's a tough question, actually. It really is, because there's probably very few things that I've done different. If anything, and it's going to sound crazy, I would have probably taken a more risk. I really would have. I think in 2009, when that opportunity came up, I would have probably borrowed a little more and bought a little more, right? There's a little greed at the end of the day, right? But what I would tell people is I think just be honest in your dealings with others. I think it goes a long ways. And don't take advantage of somebody. You know, there's always opportunities, and there has been opportunities where a property could have been stolen, but I just won't do it. Does that make sense? It's just better to be honest with people if you're buying or selling, really. And I'll take that a step further. Even the car business, this is what the most important thing that people lose track of is, or lose sight of is, you can still sell a vehicle and be honest with that customer. Even if there's something wrong, if they know about it, they're still going to buy it. It's the same in real estate. Does that make sense? So don't go up to somebody and tell them their house is worth $100,000 when it's worth $500,000, right? That's really not a very honest and good way to do business, right? But if somebody's selling something and they ask for $100,000 and you're paying their offer, I feel like that's fair. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Yeah, and that's happened a lot actually. And Ryrie was one of those examples. I don't know if we talked about that. Yeah. So, but yeah, and I would tell people again, take the risk, step outside your box. You know.
The next thing I wanted to talk to you about, I know you've done tons with real estate, but I want to hear about all the businesses you've done, because I feel like that money has propelled you into having the freedom to do a lot of the real estate stuff you've done. Why don't you give us a quick rap sheet of all of the businesses you've owned and dealt with over the years?
Absolutely. So, okay. So started selling cassettes, as we talked about earlier. Did the car business, sold the seashell hangers, sold car stereos and speakers on street corners, as a matter of fact. Then I detailed cars for a while. I was actually detailing cars for a lot of the local dealers in Idaho Falls. Getting paid $75 for a job that was probably worth $500. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But I took that business and I grew that business and I flipped it. Made a lot of money on it. I got into rhino lining. I bought a rhino lining company and started spraying rhino lining in Idaho Falls. It was a great business. Done some carpet cleaning. So let's see. That's pretty much everything. You know, I think
it's a long list. It's hard to remember.
It is a long list, but it's got me where I'm at. So
beautiful.
Yeah, it's great.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Now the next question I have for you, with real estate, I feel like a lot of people worry because of the numbers with real estate. When it comes to you, do you have a hard line that you hold to no matter what, or how do you run your numbers so that you're comfortable with your risk?
I think that comes with time, Chandler. So just having bought so many properties, I kind of know what I've got to pay for a property, right? So yeah, there is a number that I just won't go past on a property, right? And I'll walk away, okay? It hasn't happened very often because most of the time I want something so bad I'm going to chase it. But it's on the approach, okay? And so I'll give you an example. Most people don't really stop and ask if somebody's selling a property. Most investors want to see that property on the market. Very few guys will go knock on a door to ask if someone wants to sell a property. That's been my success. I knock on doors, okay? And sometimes I won't knock on a door. I'll give you an example. So I went and bought a rototiller from a guy just up from the car lot. So he was over on Woodruff. I'm looking for a tiller because we just bought this place. This is last year. I'm like, I think I want to have a garden. So I went out and I found this tiller on Facebook. So I went and met this guy. And we're talking back and forth. And I said, why are you selling the tiller? He goes, well, I want to move. I want to go to St. George. I want to be somewhere warm for this. I said, what's holding you back? He goes, well, we have these apartments on Garfield. And I'm thinking about listing them and selling them. I'm thinking about listing them and selling them. That's exactly what I'm looking for, right? Because they're not listed yet. Right? So I said, hey, do you have 5 minutes? Absolutely. So I said, Dennis, let's get in my car and let's go look at these apartments. So we went over to Garfield, toured the apartments. But I knew I had a value in my head already where I was going to pay for these. And as soon as he threw the numbers out, had I accepted his offer, he would have countered and asked for more. Does that make sense? So here's the important thing. When you're buying properties and somebody's pitching that property to you, if I go to Chandler and say, hey, Chandler, I'd take $500,000 for it. If you put your hand down, shook my hand and said, deal, well, how am I going to feel?
Not good.
Not good. Why? Because I'm going to think to myself, I could have gotten $525. So there always has to be a counter. Always. And the counter was, hey, Dennis, I can't do $500,000, but I can do $510. I'm sorry, I could do $490, right? And he kind of went back and forth. He goes, well, I feel better at $495. So and I'm just hypothetically, right? So there was that number where he felt like he won, and I felt like, okay, I've expanded. I mean, there's no more with this guy, and that's been a little, some of my success as well, is knowing what that number is. There's a lot of psychology in a sale, ton of psychology. You have to know who you're buying from. You've got to know what they want to hear. You've got to know what not to say, right, during a sale or buy. So vice versa.
I love it.
Yeah. So
that is gold.
Yeah, that one's gonna be good for you. so I guess and that training came from the car business, Chandler. It really did.
Yeah.
And when I was training in the car business and I read books all the time, the number one was to never accept an offer. How crazy is that? Never accept an offer. If Tyler walked into my dealership and said, "Hey Z, I know you're asking 15, but I'll give you 14,000." If I told Tyler I'll accept that offer, there's a 90% chance he's walking away from that deal. He's not going to tell me why, but deep down inside, he knows he might have gotten it for 13.5. Does that make sense? You've got to always remember that. That's very, very important when you're doing business.
It's huge.
And most people don't step outside the box to ask. I negotiate on everything. If I'm buying tires, I'm negotiating. If I'm buying anything I'm buying, I'm going to try. What do you have to lose? What do you have to, you're just asking. What's the worst they can say?
Yeah.
No, sorry, I can't. I walk into a place, Chandler, and I walk into Sam's Club and I'm buying tires. I was like, "Hey, can you do another 10 off on these?" Kind of looks at the guy next to him. He goes, "I don't see why not. Sure, we can do 10 off." It happens all the time. It happens in the construction world. As I'm building houses, I'm buying my lumber. "Hey, I've got to get a better deal than this. I'd like to another 5% off." Well, that 5% off when you're spending $100,000, it's a lot of money, isn't it? You see what I mean?
So
it's somebody's wage.
So let me ask you this: on that rototiller that you went
Yes.
to pick up,
Yes.
did you you paid $490 for the apartments? What'd you pay for the rototiller?
I paid full price for the I paid full price because that was the hook, okay? Because you and I know if I work him on the tiller, we're not taking that drive to the apartment. He's going, "Not this guy. I don't want to negotiate with this guy." But what happens then? I pay his asking price. He's like, "Okay, this guy's kind of easy. Get my truck. Let's go look at the apartments." He's thinking deal, right? But at the end of the day, I got lucky on that because he didn't ask for a lot. I think he was very friendly apartments, and so it was hard to say no.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are just certain situations. It's all psychological. It really is. I hate to say it, but it's 80% of it. You've got to know who you're dealing with. You've got to know what to say and what not to say at every deal. And this is crazy, Chandler, but when I go do a deal, I don't drive anything extravagant. I just don't. If I'm pulling up and knocking on a door, man, I'm not trying to deceive anybody, but the vehicles that I drive, I very rarely drive this, right?
Yeah.
The vehicle that I drive is it's a 2005 Dodge Longbox with 190,000 miles. That's what I drive in Teton Valley, okay? And it's got a ladder rack on it.
So let me ask you this: do you ever have times rolling up in that where people don't take you seriously? Because
Never.
They're always.
Never. The guy that I bought this home from, I drove up in that vehicle. And not only did I buy this home, I bought another 40 acres from him of some prime ground, commercial ground, right? And sometimes they'll point it out. That some of these old timers don't want to see you pull up in a $100,000 truck. I hate to say it, but they don't. Now, the educated guy, the sophisticated guy is going to be like, "Okay, this guy's got it going on. I'm going to take him serious." We don't deal with those guys every day. You deal with the jealousy factor a little bit. "Oh, look at this guy. Yeah, he needs more money. I want to sell my property." A lot of people think that way. It's nuts. But then here comes Z pulling up in this 2005 Dodge, and the guys are like, "Oh, we got to help this guy. We got to help. Look at this guy. Honey, look at this guy." Anyway. It's crazy, but it's true. I mean, it's just, there's been some times where people judge you by what you drive and where you live and what you do. So you don't share a ton of information about it. In your case, it's a little different because people know what Chandler does, right? Everybody knows Chandler. But yeah, so those are some things that I've done that have been a little more successful. It's just not really flaunt, your money or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Very cool.
Be a little more conservative, act conservative. Things like that.
I love it.
Guys, thank you so much for listening in on the interview. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I do. Now we're going to have a ton more interviews like this a bunch more videos on real estate investing, and a bunch of other cool stuff coming out. So subscribe below on my YouTube channel, like the video if you enjoyed it, and thanks so much. We'll see you next time.